Okay, this is one of the first videos I'm going to do. The day is the 25th, January 2022. A lot of people ask me, what do you do with the gold after you buy it? And if you're in the business, you have several choices of what to do. Usually when you buy the gold, you've bought it under the price at which it will probably melt for. If you didn't, then it must be special gold. And that I'll talk about later. Special gold. Here's a look at some of the things that we've purchased. And I just pulled these out because a lot of them you wouldn't even want to even consider trying to fix. And you'd be wasting your time. And if you sold a product of that quality, your customer would be cussing you out within the first couple of months because it won't hold up. And there are a lot of products that you can recycle. And remember, if you buy a gold ring for less than the price of scrap, and might have some stones in it or whatever, and if you fix that piece up so it's like brand new, well, now you can sell it. And you got to make sure that the item that you're selling is of a good enough quality and thickness that it's going to hold up and your customer won't be disappointed. Now, I have in front of me a few different items, and I would like to go over each one of them. Back here, I have what I consider to be the nightmare of the industry, and I grew up fixing these doggone things, and I hated them from day one. This is a herringbone, and the herringbone is a thin necklace, and it's mashed flat so it'll spread out and look real expensive, but at the same time, I guarantee you they'll kink. And in this example, I'm just showing you herringbones and how this is a braided one, two braided chains, and they just broke and came apart. Back in the day, I used to rebraid them and solder them back together. Today, I wouldn't want to sell them. But back in the day, I had to fix them. And I got paid pretty good to fix them, and that is a great way to make money. Right next to it, I got the other nightmare that I consider in this business, and that's a hollow rope chain. The hollow rope chain, I always called it a lollipop, and if anybody bought it, God bless them. And the only guarantee I ever gave them with a hollow rope was, eventually, that hollow rope chain is going to break like this one has. Now, when you buy this scrap, you have to look at the chain and understand you might not like the chain, you might not want to sell the chain, but look here. Right there's one lobster catch, and right here and here are two 14 karat gold end caps. Now, you're not buying them from the supplier, and you're not paying an arm and leg for those findings. There's the jewel in buying. If we move on to the next one, here's an earring, Rigoletto style. Let's see if I can bring it in there for you. Lousy earring. I only got one. I really don't want to turn it into a pendant because that stuff went out of style years ago. But look here. To me, it looks like a 14 karat stud and back. Just cut it off, and you can put it on another earring. Make your own. You can do that with that. Here's another earring. Look, this one even has a small stone on it. And believe it or not, there's a jump ring at the top, so you could take this amethyst and just put a jump ring on that and then put it on the other chain. Now you can sell an amethyst pendant. And again, the same deal. Here's a post and back, 14 karat. Now, let's take a look at some of the stuff you really don't want to get because of the wear. Somebody had this made, and it's a fine piece. Looks like a giant paint palette to me, but here's the problem. The problem is there. There's no metal left. You can see how it's been sawed out. So, it would take quite a lot to fix this piece, and quite honestly, I don't want to, so it's going into the melt pile. Here's a single earring enhancer. Giant CZ heart. Nice jump ring, but if you hang this on a chain, it's going to hang sideways. Like that. So what you need to do with this one is, one jump ring, one solder, now you got a giant heart pendant. Sometimes you run into things that don't need anything. Here's a nice little dolphin ring. It's got some, looks like little diamonds set in it. And quite honestly, that just came out of the cleaner. It might be a little bit out of round, but a couple taps on a mandrel, straighten that right up. I've got one here that I'm going to work on in a little bit. First off, this ring's been crushed. You can see it's crushed. And that's pretty well crushed. But what I'm looking at on this ring is the top. And this top is loaded with all these little tiny stones. But right now, these stones are still tight. They haven't come out. They're not even jiggling in there because I touched each one of them with a needle to make sure it wasn't loose. If it was loose, I'd tighten it up right away. But all you have to do with this one is put it on a ring mandrel, push it down on the ring mandrel. Don't be doing no beating on it to start with, and just push it down on the mandrel, and then round it back up. Make sure it's sitting on the mandrel, nice and square, and put it up for sale. That's recovering scrap jewelry. And, you know, with what you pay for this, what do you think you can sell it for? 3 times what you paid? Have to find out. Sometimes you get rings where the stones are already gone. And the problem with that is, if you don't have a stone to fit in there, what are the chances of you being able to find one? Well, you can, but then you got to look at the rest of the ring. Everything's worn thin, and you got to say, is it worth it? Quite honestly, I don't think so. Here's a nice chain. Some people call this a mariner link, but this chain was very beautiful when it was new. The problem is this chain has been worn so much that if you look up the inside, there's nothing left up in there. That's so thin. You can sell this chain. You'll probably see it in a little while. But here's what's good. There's a 14 karat gold barrel catch on this chain. And that catch right there, you can use that. You could also use the end caps if they're not worn down like the chain. Anytime you have the opportunity to buy findings, catches, clasp, anything like that, settings, and you're paying scrap price, you can do it. I would. Now here's a catch I took off of another necklace. The necklace was broken in like 4 or 5 spots. And as you can see, let's see if I can bring it a little better into focus. Now here's a catch that I took off of a necklace. The chain used to attach here and here. And these are movable. And I got all that chain out of there. This catch came with the diamonds set in it. I bought the whole thing for scrap gold. What do you think a catch like that would cost? Oh my God, I wouldn't want to have to order one. But, again, this is what's important in you evaluating what you've got and what you're going to do with it. Some of this stuff will go into recycling, and I'll be refining it down to pure so I can reuse it again. And a few pieces we will repair or use and offer them up for sale in the near future on EGADjewelry.com. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on, I hope, this one ring right here. The bent piece. And the reason I'm going to do this one is because this is the one you probably run into the most. And this one requires the least amount of jeweler's tools. And the only thing I'm going to do with it, I'll tell you, I'm going to put it on that ring mandrel. And I'm going to push it up. And as I go, I'll be tapping it lightly. But I'll have to be very careful because this ring has hollow shoulders. And the hollow shoulders means if you tap up around the shoulders, you're going to dent it. So you have to be very careful. I hope to accomplish this task. I hope to show you how I do it. Upcoming video. Stay tuned.